Hey everyone, welcome to the stream, welcome to my channel, welcome back. Welcome back to working on this guy right here, the F-51D. I'm doing the Korean version of Tamiya's 1/32 scale Mustang, so let's just get into it. So let me just first say annyeonghaseyo yarabun to all my Korean friends who watch me 뚱뚱해요, 와전세로디에요. Thank you very much. For you English-speaking people, you have no idea what I said, and I'm not going to tell you this time. You'll just have to figure that one out. My Korean friends, maybe you got a laugh out of that. I don't know. Anyway. We have this guy here, and he's kind of painted up a little bit silver, a little silvery looking. Of course, the silver parts are mostly masked off now because we're going with a different shade of silver, and that's what we're doing. We're going to be going with the LP48. We're going to be making this guy super shiny. But first, we're going to go with a little bit of the bits and pieces here that I've got on my desk before we get into that. So I'll just put him down there, and I'm going to start masking this off, or not masking, I'm going to start mixing this up, and we'll start painting some little bits, okay? And that's what we're going to do. I think, it's been so long, I don't remember if I've actually put thinner in this yet or not. And it looks like I have thinned this out, so it'll be good enough, just as it is, straight out of the bottle. At least for these little bits, anyway. These will be fine. When I get to the actual aircraft, maybe I will put a little bit of leveling thinner in it. Maybe. We will see. I definitely want to put it in my bigger airbrush for actually painting the airplane. But for these little bits, I can put it in my smaller one, and that'll be plenty. Not a problem. Okay, I do have my other camera set up still, and so we can change that over and you can watch me paint. Let's just get that going here. Bing to bing. There's the airplane sitting there waiting patiently. We're going to start with a little bit. I want to do just a light little coat first. Before I really get into it. Wait, let's just do that for now. Just let that sit for a moment. This one actually was part of the wing, and I had painted that with the aluminum already, but I want to paint it silver. Because in my reference photos, this is supposed to be a little bit shinier and brighter. So I want to do that one. It stands out to show it actually is not part of the painted aluminum that they did back in the day. Okay, let's have a minute to sit. This should be able to. Sure does get shiny, I tell you that much. Alright, that looks so beautifully shiny. Silver. Camera doesn't do it justice. I'll work on the first coat on these guys. That's going to be fun getting in there. Get a preliminary little coat going on there, and then I'll just sit that down. Do my final one on this guy. There we go. Nice shiny silver. We'll do one of my landing gear pods. Just do a little light coat like that. I want to do 2 coats. One is kind of a dry coat, just kind of get it ready, like that, good enough. And then I'll go in with a little bit more wet coat, and that really gets the shine going. There we go. And that's really all I'm going to need for this. It's not going to be much view of this particular part, because that's going to be underneath the plane and you're not really going to be seeing it. Everybody's going to be focused on this edge and not the silver edge, so that's all right. Next, ammunition bay doors. Let's do this. Put that there. Okay, back to this. Nice and bright, shiny, looks beautiful. Yes, it does look very similar to this side, just not quite the same. And this one, there we go. One last piece of the little pieces is this guy here. Again, I had him on there when I was doing the aluminum color. This is supposed to be more silvery, so I'm going to give her a nice coat of silver. There we go. Okay. And that will be it for the little pieces. Okay. So, with that being it for the little pieces, I'm going to now move to the bigger guy, our main subject. The paint seems to be flowing pretty easily and very nice, so I don't think I'm going to add any thinner. I am just going to transfer this over to this brush. Yeah, see, it runs down the cup really easy, so the paint is plenty thin enough. I'm going to need a lot more though. That's one thing for sure, is I'm going to need more. Make sure we're all nice and mixed up well. And fill up that cup. And that actually emptied my little jar, which is perfectly fine because I have spares. The other day I went out and I bought some more, just in case I was going to actually run out. I wasn't sure if I was going to run out, or how much exactly I had left, or if I was going to need more. But, so just in case, I went to the hobby store and I got a couple more of these. So, do a little test spray here. Oh yeah, we're good to go. Okay, we'll switch the camera back and we can get into this. Now, as I did before, I should wear my glove because I don't want silver. I really don't need a silver hand. Okay, I'll start with the bottom. Focus on here on our flaps. Move these out of the way for now. This part already being aluminum, it's already pretty much looks like it's done, but it's not. It is a beautiful shiny silver, I will tell you that. Okay, I'm going to focus now on the back. I want to open up that bay door. And open this guy up. And this guy too. Just so it's a little easier to get in there. If I didn't know better, I'd say this is chrome. It's so shiny. It's not quite chrome though. It doesn't have that mirror finish of chrome, but very, very close. I am very happy I chose this particular color to do. Next I'm going to do this, just so I can get in down underneath there a little bit and make sure I've got silver in there. Alright. Now the nice thing about having a lot of this masked off is I can actually just grab it by the wings, flip her over, flip our flaps down, and I can continue like this. Really looking nice. Just making sure I got every angle so I got full coverage. Every part of this plane. Looking good. Looking very good. Super shiny. Now, that's it. Making sure I got in on these little spots here. Just making sure I got everywhere. Now that's something I am going to have to take care of later, is because the tail on this thing is not, it was covered in fabric, so I need to make sure I get that taken care of. I'm going to have to let this dry now, okay? So I'm going to let this guy dry, and then I'm going to sand it just like I did. Now I didn't show you guys the process. I sanded down the main wings I sanded it down with, just did a wet sand with some 6000 grit, just to smoothen it out. You probably can't tell on the camera, but I can see that my surface is not perfectly smooth. Something I have a tendency to do is I paint my... I still haven't gotten to the point in my airbrush skills where I can actually paint a really wet coat. I tend to paint dry coats. And so, unfortunately, what's a dry coat? Well, a dry coat is when the paint pretty much dries as soon as it hits the plastic, or is even starting to dry in the air as it's going. I don't want to flood it with paint, and so I have my... I don't pull back full throttle on the trigger, because I don't want to flood it, and I don't want any runs in my paint. As a result, I tend to get a dry coat of paint on my models, and that leads to a kind of a rough texture on them. And if I really want a glossy coat, or I want it super smooth, then I wind up having to sand it. So I grab some 6000 grit, just a sanding sponge, do a wet sand really lightly, and just take that rough edge right off and clean it up. Unfortunately, that's what I gotta do, right? And so it is what it is. It's a learning process. It takes practice, it takes patience, and that's what I gotta do. And I recognize that's a limitation I have, and I need to learn to get that. So if you guys watch my channel, you know that when I first started out, I didn't even own an airbrush. I went a good part of my life building models and never had an airbrush, and I learned all different tricks and stuff like that with the rattle cans to get the kind of look that I wanted, but it's never quite the same as an airbrush. It's just, that's just a limitation of the rattle cans, right? You're never going to get the kind of accuracy or paint feathering and fading and stuff like that that you would with an airbrush. You just won't, and that's just something you have to accept. Unfortunately, it takes a little more skill to actually paint with an airbrush, and that takes time. Doesn't mean you don't need skill for a rattle can. Sure, the rattle can is pretty basic, right? Pretty basic. There's not much to it. A couple of little rules with the rattle can, and you can go to town and not really worry about it very much. With an airbrush, though, it's not quite as easy. It takes a little more practice, a little more patience. And something like this, like, I mean, Tamiya's 1/32 scale F-51, it's not a cheap kit, you know. I don't want to paint it and then wind up having to strip the paint because I really screwed it up, you know what I mean? And so I don't want to try out experiments and stuff on this particular kit. Try out new techniques. That's what some guys call painting mules are. And I have one. I've got an F-15 model here that I try out some paint on and stuff like that, and strip it off of there and try something different, right? And that way I find out my different techniques and try different things with that one, instead of, you know, trying it out on something that I'm really going to regret if I made a big mistake, right? So, yeah. So, now that my brush is clean, that's probably enough time, especially with these little bits, enough time to deal with these. And we'll have a look at them. Change my cam for you so you can have a look at what I'm doing. So these guys, I'm just simply can take the masking tape off of that. Well, one thing I have found, like with Tamiya's, like sometimes if I want to get silver, I will use Tamiya's TS30. This stuff here, the silver leaf. Now I think this stuff does a really good job of giving you a decent silver look. To get something very similar to this, but it's not quite as shiny as that, but it's close. But I have found that the TS30 is a little bit fragile. For example, having just sprayed this, if this was the TS30, I take a piece of masking tape and put it on there. Just do this. Now if I lift that up, if this is TS30, I'm going to go whoosh, and there's going to be some paint on the tape. I haven't tried this with this stuff though, so this is going to be my experiment with this. And I got absolutely nothing. There's nothing on that tape, nothing lifted. So this is a little tougher paint. This is tougher than the TS30. And I'm happy about that. I'm actually very happy about that. Okay, those are done. We've got these guys. Whoops, I didn't want to throw that away. Okay, there's one, there's the other. We have this guy. We can take the tape off of this guy here. Very nice. Now he goes on here. I can get him lined up. Come on. There, just like that. Goes like that. Okay, so I'm going to glue that on now. Now that it's painted, I can finally glue it. There. All right. That's for our landing gear down. I already have the piece in for the landing gear up. That's actually on the plane right now. Okay. Our main landing gear bay doors. And our little piece here. This is so I can mount it to the base if I want to have it in flight. So I wanted to have that silver. I'm just going to leave it to the side. Our two little caps for our wings. Can't forget those. Now this guy here. I was concerned I was going to get a lot of overspray along this edge. I got a little bit of black here. That's not too bad though. That's not bad. A little bit there is alright. I can touch that up with the yellow chromate. Or I could even just leave it. It'd just be fine. Not bad. Looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I have two different versions of these doors. Okay. This is the aluminum color of the wing, and then this is my bright shiny ones. So I wasn't sure which ones I'm actually going to use. I've seen reference photos where these panels are definitely different color than the rest of the wing, and I've seen other photos where they are not this different color, that they are the same color. So I wasn't sure, so I figured I'd just do them both, do both styles, just in case. Whichever one I wind up using, I'm not sure. I want to get to actually assembling this part today. Okay, so let me grab my instructions. That is this right here. So yeah, I got this crossed off because I wasn't going to be using this. I wasn't going to be doing in flight, right? But as I'm building this kit, I realized I actually got both options, and so I might as well assemble this. So let's get this. We need A2 off of our photo etch tree. Okay. These guys here, so let's get those out. Okay. Now I am going to get rid of my nubs on these just because fitment will be an issue if I don't. It's not about cleanliness or any kind of a look. This is all for the actual fit. This one I accidentally bent a little bit. It's not the end of the world though. Okay, so what we need to do is grab this piece here. This is an F-15. Okay, this might not be, you might not recognize this as an F-15, but this is an F-15. Okay, we're going to take this guy and we're going to put those two guys onto these two little pegs. So facing this direction, we want our fins, these things facing up. So, whoops. We try it by hand first. See if I can get them in there. Maybe not. I also need to change my glasses. I'm doing all this and I haven't even changed my glasses yet. I'm wondering why I can't really see them very well. Okay, so we want them sticking out, so we're going to go like this, that. That. And do the same with the other one. So we got two. Now they mentioned not gluing it. So we're not supposed to glue it, but we've got to grab our F-18 and put it in there. Okay, so let's just sit this down, hope they don't fall out. Where's my F-18? Here's the F-and-tree. F-18. I got it currently painted chromate. And it's going to go in right beside them. That, and we are going to glue that in. Okay, nice firm press just to make sure. There we go. Okay. Then this is going to go down. We're going to line these guys there, and the pins on each end also. Now you guys saw in the last one, I had this on the plane and it was in there, and I didn't even have any of this mounted, and it was quite happy to stay in its home all by itself. And I had no problem at all. And we got a little bit of not really lining up, so let's try that. And try that. And we'll just let that sit for a while and let that dry. Let that dry like that. I just wanted to get that done because later on that's going to be needed. So we'll just set that aside. We'll need that later on. If I ever decide that I'm going to have the plane in flight, then I need that assembled, right, to have the landing gear up. With these ammunition doors, if you want to have them open, you leave these tabs on and you cut them into your different pieces, and then you have this one positioned up, straight up and down in the open position, and you put a decal on the door, right? This, of course, is our options for all this. We can start. I'm going to get my tape off of the plane, and we'll start looking at that. Okay, so here's our airplane. You might be able to tell, you might not. This is a little bit of a rough surface because, well, I'm terrible at painting smooth surfaces. We're going to take our tape off and have a look at our final result of our nice silver airplane. It really is a nice thing when you see no silver coming up with the tape. I've always found silver is a little bit sketchy and delicate when it comes to that. Sometimes it just wants to pull up with the tape as well. So it's really a nice thing when you peel that tape up and you got no silver underneath. None at all. It's really nice. probably tell on the camera, it really is a different color on the wings. It's aluminum. It's not the super bright shiny silver. That I just did everywhere else. Alright, we're getting there, we're getting there. See, big difference in the shininess between the aluminum and the sparkling silver. Some of these spots like this are always a little tricky. I don't want to dig underneath the tape with a knife on the actual kit. There we go. See, some spots like this are a little bit tricky. I don't want to dig underneath there, right? So I've got to pick and choose where I dig and where I don't. That one's good. That one's good. Okay. There we go. And there we go. Okay, so what I need to do is get this guy sanded down. Oh, I've got a couple more pieces here. This guy here. That's gonna be fun. There's a good spot. Big change there. I was going to do a panel. Remember last time I kind of sprayed here? I was going to do this panel also, but then when I looked at it I was like, nah, I don't think so. I'm not going to do it. So I just did the one. I just did the one panel to really make that one stand out. That one there. Just to have that one totally different. The next thing I need to do is sand this down and make this smooth, because it's not quite smooth, it's a little bit rough. Okay, so what I'm going to do is grab some water and give her a little bit of a sanding. Okay. So let me grab some water and I'll be back. Okay, so I don't want to go crazy with the sanding. I just want to get the edge taken off it. So I'm actually going to be using the 8000 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to give it a very light wet sand. Okay, it's not even sandpaper, it's sanding sponge. Okay, I just want to take, you might be able to hear it, right? There's just that little bit of a roughness to the paint that I just want to take that roughness away and smoothen it out. Doesn't take a lot. I definitely don't want to press hard enough that I'm going to get down into the paint too hard. I'm just taking the edge off of it. That's all I want to do. Flaps smooth. Again, it doesn't take a lot, just a little bit is all I want to do. Just to get it smooth. Smoothing out my, for lack of a better term, smoothing out my crappy paint job. That's all I need to do is just do that. Just a little bit. Yeah, even just that little bit I'm doing is all I need, and now it feels nice and smooth to the touch. It's really all you need to do. Otherwise, if I was ever to try and paint chrome, I probably would not be doing very good, because I don't seem to be very good at doing a wet coat like that. Maybe in time, with more practice, I can do a wet coat and it'll be smooth, but my skill level's not there right now. I don't think I have to bother with the prop. I think the prop is fine. Just gonna make sure I got these up at the front there good. On my cowling. Yeah. That's good. And that's it. And that's all you need to do. Well, at least that's all I need to do. I'm gonna get a clean paper towel. Give her a wipe down, nice and gentle like. Dry it off. Remember, we do have some delicate pieces under there, like that, like the bomb mount, which I wanted to mount on there so that it gets the exact same paint coat as the rest of the plane. Right? That's something that I wanted to make sure got done so that I didn't have a variation in the colors, in the tint or the tonality of the the silver, you know. Wanted it all to be the same. Let's do a check. Oh yeah, nice and smooth. Nice and smooth now. Much better. Just a little check under here. All right. Now with that done, let's move this back over here. All right, now that that's done, we could put our covers back on our wings, right? Or I could just do a little check and see how that looks in comparison. That really is going to show that that's a different panel. It's removable if I do that. So I don't know. I don't know which one I actually want to do as far as that goes. But we still have some more stuff. I've got more painting to do on this, right? I've got to add the black strip for the, what do they call it? The glare, anti-glare strip they always have on every single Mustang. You'll see there's a black or green patch goes right across there. I've got to paint up our I got to paint the rotor blades. The rotor blades themselves are not supposed to be silver, they're supposed to be black. I got to paint those. I've got to paint our separate piece that goes around our exhaust. Speaking of which, I've got more tape to remove. I got to get rid of our little patch that was protecting our red piece there. I also have masking tape on the inside here that needs to be done. But why bother taking that out when I've got to paint this? I've got to mask and paint this guy, right? So, yeah, that's got to be done. Plus this guy has to be painted also. So I think what I'll do is I'll remove him and paint him separate. Speaking of removing, let's take that guy off. And we can take this off. And look at that, no overspray on the inside. That's perfect. Love that. Okay, let me change the camera because you guys aren't seeing it very much here. So I had put a piece of masking tape on the inside of this to keep overspray from going in between them. So now those are separate. And now I can remove Tamiya's little masks. On this. See, Tamiya's masks they are really nice. They got no bleeding, no nothing. This is a little bit tricky getting this one off because it tore. I don't want to scratch my canopy. There we go. Perfect. No bleeding, no bleed through, no nothing. And there's our canopy. Nicely, perfectly painted. Now they want me to paint the inside of this black, but guess what? Because I primered it black, it already is black on the inside. Isn't that fantastic? It's already black, even underneath here, it's black. That's perfect. Put that over there for safekeeping. This guy, I might as well leave the masks on like this. Right? He's black on the inside. That's awesome. That's perfect. That's exactly the color it needs to be. So I'll mask off that. It's got to be painted black, okay, on the outside instead of this nice shiny silver. And then I will mask off here, and I'll go like that, okay. Now, let's see. Let's move my parts out of my way here, so that I can do all this stuff. These guys go on the tips of the wings, like this. I like the fact that it's a shiny, different colored silver. It points it out. It makes it jump out at you, and I like that. Okay. I did a pretty decent job at filling in the panel lines and sanding it all down smooth and making it look, basically getting rid of a lot of the detail that Tamiya spent the time sculpting for us. They did a pretty good job at getting rid of all that and filling it all in. I'm definitely not a body man, and I'm not great at filling in detail, filling in panel lines, but not bad. Not bad. Looks pretty good. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys how the landing gear goes in and everything like that, but I've got to still do some painting. I've got to do some painting. So I'm going to try, let's see how this particular masking tape does for this edge. That's kind of the route I want to go. It's like this. Gotta make sure I'm even on both sides. And my first side is not as good as the second side. There we go. That's a little better. There. So now I can use the wider masking tape and I can start masking off more. So that's going to be the big thing, is, you know, masking off exactly what you need. I kind of want to do this. There's certain parts where it doesn't really matter if I get black on it, like in there, that doesn't matter, but I don't want to risk overspray in other areas, so that's just the way it's got to be. Now I do have a decal right there, which if I put masking tape over top of that decal, I might not have that decal later. So I'm going to fold it over so that it's actually being covered, and then I'll put another piece of masking tape over top of it like this. Like that. Okay, now we're going to go with our big masking tape, my big wide one. Which, in hindsight, maybe I should not have unmasked the plane yet, you know? Maybe that would have been a wise thing. But that's alright. I don't want to risk overspray anywhere on my wings, especially this is going to be black. Dean Hess's plane, it happened to be black. It had the black on here, not the green. And of course I am trying to replicate Dean Hess's plane, so we're going to be doing that. Stuck down on the wing before I stuck down on the sides. I want to get on the sides. Okay, I think we're good, almost perfect. Just want to, see, I want to protect my investment on the front too. Kind of like that. Okay, I'll do one more over here, just to be safe. I actually feel like I need to that. Just feeling a necessity to really make sure I'm covered here, because it's easy to get a very large amount of overspray in areas you never even would consider would be a threat. There you go. So that's probably overkill for what I need just to mask off this and paint it. But yeah, that's what I'm doing, and that's what we're going to get. So what am I going to paint it with? Well, I'm going to paint it with the Mr. Surfacer Black. Why not? It's kind of the perfect color. It's going to cover the silver beautifully, and I'm not going to have to worry about it afterwards. So it is kind of a sort of a semi-gloss, right? Sort of a semi-gloss. It's not totally flat. If I'm not happy with it and how it looks, I can always actually put a flat clear on it. So yeah, so let's just paint this guy. And okay, now you can sort of see just how much overspray you get, right? Which makes me glad I actually went back this far, because I got overspray back here and back here. Not intending to, but I did. I didn't quite get everywhere that I would need to, so, but for a first coat, that's fine. I don't want to lay it on, again, I don't want to lay it on too thick, right? Second coat, I'll go a little heavier, making sure I get every spot that I need to. There we go. There's that. Okay. I'll let that sit for a minute. And I'm going to do the same job with the canopy wherever I put it. It's kind of hard to see with a big silver thing. So with this guy, I'm just going to put, see, I don't want to paint the inside of it, but I want to make sure it's going to be protected and I'm not going to get paint on the part I want kept clear. So put some tape on the inside like that. That keeps my glass pieces clean. And I'll just do this, doink, and now I can paint that. Once again, I don't want to go too heavy on it. That's really, it's almost a little too thick. I don't like it, but that's fine. And now this has had a nice long time to get tacky. I'm just going to do one last little coat. Look how far out on the wing I got overspray. Way over here. And way up to here. Way over there. See? You never know. You get a little bit too anxious with your spraying. Next thing you know, you've got overspray where you never would have imagined. And then of course you'll get nice hard crisp lines from the paint where you got full coverage from the masking and then didn't because of your overspray. That's always a very unfortunate reality when that shows up on you. So I've been fortunate enough now to realize I masked off just good enough. Oops. I masked off enough. I didn't get any overspray on my wings or on the rear of the fuselage, so that's very nice. Thank you very much. I'll take those off. And what's next? This guy here. Nice. I'm not even doing it on camera. Sorry about that. There we go. I did get a little bit of bleed through here and here. Just a little tiny bit. But I think I can live with that. I can totally live with that. That's fine. That's totally fine. Yeah. Okay. One more coat needs to be put on this. At least one. Okay, so let me do that. Let me just move my stuff out of the way here so I can put my tape back. And this down. And another coat on this. All right, he's got all the paint he needs. Okay, so I'm going to put this down, put this aside for now. We've got a few things to do with our landing gear assembly. I am going to have to refer back to the instructions on which side goes on which side. So let's flip back to our instructions here. Go back to our landing gear assembly. Back here. Let's put this guy out of the way, out of harm's way, while that paint dries. Okay, so let's grab a wheel and take a look what we're doing. We've got this guy here, okay, and we need this one here. So that's going to go in this direction. These guys got to go around the pipe. This go into their little holes down at the bottom. Like that. And then that goes in right there. Are those in their holes? It's going to sit just like that. Okay. Alright, that one's done. I'm going to do the same with this guy. This one I did not glue, so this is nice and loose. Remember that I glued the other one before. Kind of regretted gluing it. This one's not glued. It allows me to manipulate where it needs to be a little bit better. There we go. There we go. So those are glued in. That means landing gear's ready to go in. This is dry enough now. I can actually unmask it. There we go. And I should be able to take our masks off now. Really is a satisfying thing, taking the masks off of windows and seeing you've got zero bleed through and it's perfectly lined up. That is a really nice feeling, I will say. There we go. Now, I have noticed that the fit for the canopy is a little tight on here. It is, you got to have it angled just precisely, and then when you get it, it does go down in, but it's tight. It is a tight fit in there. Right? Like even just right now, I got it. It's in, but not all the way. It doesn't want to just drop into its spot. It's such a tight fit. To me, it's really made this one tight. There we go. To get it to actually want to sit down exactly where it's supposed to go, it's kind of tough. But there it is. That's in. Okay, now I need to glue it. So gluing it is a little tough too, because I want to get glue in there, but I don't want to glue on the paint. I don't want to... See, I've already got a chip right there. I've chipped the black off of there. If I use my thin on the outside, it's gonna just get rid of the paint right away. So I need to use my thicker paint, but I need to be very sparing in where I apply it and how much I apply. So let's try that. I got it, and I got no bleed through, so that's perfect. That's all I need. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. That looks good. Now I can put the top canopy on, or the main, with our little back piece. There we go. I want to refer to the instructions before I actually glue this piece on here. It is a little bit like, it would be nice if this was a little bit more of a firm thing and a little bit more positive of a fit. It does fit perfectly though. It's beautiful. Catching myself saying beautiful a lot today. Okay, what else do we have? Oh, careful. We've got ammunition to put in. That's these guys. Okay. Because right now our Mustang is a little bit toothless. So let's refer to the actual page where we're supposed to put those in. Back in the wing section. Back here. Back here. W2 and W3, they are different. So which one did I just take off of here? I just took off W2. Okay. W2 is supposed to go, I'm going to have to flip the plane over. It's supposed to go on this wing. Okay. So W2 goes here. Do a little test fit. It's a little tight. Alright, let's put some glue in. That there. That edge. There we go. There is a pin on the bottom of it that's going to go in that hole. That's going to tell you you've got it in the right spot. With all the paint I've got on that, it is a tight fit. But it fits. There we go. Okay. We got some bullets in that wing. Let's do the same thing on the other side. See if I can make this one fit a little easier. I already know it's going to fit. So you know this one's got the pin on this side going on that side. You know your little rail sticks out towards the center. So that's how you know you got it in the right way around. Tight little fit, especially with all the paint and everything. Just press down, bend it to your will. Okay, there we go. Now with it flipped over, we're going to take a look here. We got to take W13 and W9. Okay, 13 and 9. This is 13. And number 9. Okay. And they got to go in. 13 is going to go in on this rail. Again, I'm running out of space, so I'm doing multiple things at once. Move this over so you can actually see what I'm doing. This guy's got to go in here. It looks like it's supposed to tuck under. Doesn't. Ah, yes it does. Hey, just like that. Maybe I want to do W9 first, because it's going to do the same thing. Yeah, I'm glad I'm trying this one out first. Getting this one to go exactly where it needs to is a little bit of a challenge. There we go. Got him. we go. So we've got our bullet rails in there. And of course I got a drip of glue right there, and I ruined my paint right there. But that's okay, because I am still going for the, this plane's been through a lot, and there's been lots of blemishes, there's been lots of things that has happened to this poor little plane. Especially one thing I've read about, a little bit about, you know, the history of Dean Hassan, what he went through in the Korean War. Didn't exactly have an easy go of it. But the conditions of the planes and everything like that they had, not exactly the best experience. Okay, there's one. It's funny how once you figure it out, it goes in real easy. So there's our ammo. The plane now has ammo in it. Which means we can put our doors back on. Assuming I got the ammo tucked down. Perfect! That's my other door. Perfect. Just like that. I think that's fine, just looking like that. I don't think I need the super bright shiny ones. Let's just do a little test. Woo! And look at that. Not exactly precision fit, is it? That's alright though. It's perfectly alright. Okay. I'm actually going to take this off for now, because I don't want this thing flopping around on me. As I flip this over, and we deal with our landing gear. Okay. The landing gear gets screwed in. It doesn't glue in. You don't glue these in. Okay. Now let me grab my screwdriver. We got tiny little screws here. Okay. I'll undo that. Little screw. Now, if you're not sure which is left and right, just do a quick check on if the landing gear bay door matches up with your angle, and then you know you got the right side. That's going to go in that little square hole right there where that screw just came out of. Right there. Just give it a little press and it falls out on you. Let's try this again. I did test fit this once before, and it is kind of a little tight fit, so it should hold for you while you put that screw in. There we go. Screws tight. You don't need to go crazy with the tightness, just as long as it's nice and snug. And then you can take your little cover, you should get the right side, this is the right side, and that cover is going to be magnetized against that screw and hold your cover in place. Now my cover doesn't fit perfectly up top here, there's a little bit of a gap, but I'm okay with that. I tried to shave it down and do a little bit of sanding, do a little bit of shaving and stuff like that on the inside, I still couldn't get it perfect. So I just figured, you know what, that's good enough. Let's get this screw out. There we go. This wheel in. A little bit of press, that should do it. There we go, nice and tight. Put a little cap on. There we go. So this side fits a little bit better, it's a little bit more of a tight fit, and this one looks good. Whatever. Then we have our rear landing gear. This might be a little stuck because of the paint. Boink. And there we go. So now we have all three wheels. She's got landing gear. She gets to stand on her wheels now. Yay. Let's put this back in. There we have it, guys. Put our panels back on. And hey, why not? Put our rotor on. Let's complete our look. There we go. Ta-da. So this is where I'm going to leave it for today, guys. This is almost complete. We're almost done. Oh, I forgot one important little thing. Remember I was fighting with this guy last time. That's got to go in here. Once you get it lined up, it should go in. It should slide in nicely. Getting it lined up can be a challenge, but once you get it, it goes. Once you get it, it goes. Like I said, once you get it, it goes. But getting it lined up can be a challenge. See, once you get it, it goes. So, there you have it, guys. That is it. This panel likes to fall off. That's okay. So, you know, for the actual assembly of this plane, I'm done. Right? For actual assembly, I'm finished. That's it. That's the assembly is done. There's no more to actually assemble other than glue a couple of bombs and rockets on the bottom, right? Boom, 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 and you're done. But that's not where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to show you guys doing the weathering. Off camera, I'll do the decals, right? Decals are decals. Also off camera, I will mask off and paint my rotors, my main rotor blade. Paint these black like they're supposed to be. I'll do that off camera. And yeah, the little touch-up paint that needs to be done along there, along the exhaust, I'll do that off camera too. Next time, it's basically just going to be showing you guys a little bit of weathering, and you'll see all the decals on it, and you'll kind of see the finished product, and that'll be it. So yeah, that's it for this, and that's it for today. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for the comments. Hit that like button, hit subscribe down below. Links to all my other social media stuff will be in the description box below. And so that's where I'm going to end it. And thank you guys again, and we'll see you all in the next one.